Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Theta. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. Now, if you haven't watched the previous update, I encourage you to check that out before watching this one so that you have more context. Now, that's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Let's jump into the TA. This is the daily chart on TradingView. The chart is pulled from Binance. As you can see, Theta is in a very strong downtrend here, and we're actually losing the low that we printed here in June, which is quite negative. And the immediate support down below that I have is at 80 cents. So that's the second Fibonacci retracement level that we have, or the second extension level. So based on this fib that we have, so that's the swing high up there that we created in April of 2021, and the swing low is over here in July of 2021. Now, as soon as you lose that swing low, your technical target is the 1.618. Okay, and that was at $1.40. Now we have plummeted through that, and we've been retesting the 1.618 as resistance, had a little fake out above here. We couldn't solidify above the 1.618, and now we are on a downward slope to 80 cents. Now, I do think this is the level that we're going to retest, and if Bitcoin doesn't decide to drop to $14,000, but just hang around $18,000 to $19,000, we may end up here for Theta. Now, as you can see, this is the high that we printed in October of 2020, and I keep bringing this up in every single video, so some of you probably heard about this, but this is the high that we printed, and we never back tested that as support because we broke above in December of 2020, and since then we have been in this falling wedge. We lost the support of the wedge, and as you can see, you're slowly but surely approaching this previous resistance, and you want to retest that as support. That's going to be a very bullish move from Theta, in my opinion. So if you want to have some buy limit orders all the way down to 80 cents, that's going to be a very smart thing to do, but never have round numbers in your limit orders, because that just decreases your chances of getting filled. Just have something like 0.801 or 2, just so it's not a round number. So that's really what I think is going to be the bottom for Theta. We may just have a large wick down here, and then we start recovering. But who knows, depending on what Bitcoin decides to do, we may have a capitulation all the way down to $14,000. At that point, we may end up down here at 53 cents, for example, for Theta, but no one knows if that's going to happen. But that is actually this low over here that we created in November after getting rejected from that high. So we came back down to 53 cents. And that's going to be a very important level for us to hold as well. So you do have this sort of trading range, as you can see, this little trading range here. And that is where I do think we're going to end up at some point, right? If you start losing 80 cents, then this is the zone from 80 cents to 53 cents. That's your buy zone for Theta. Now, jumping into the daily RSI, very negative here is the fact that we're losing the symmetrical triangles support trend line, and we're jumping into the green buy zone for Theta, as you can see. So you're entering the buy zone anywhere from 34.87 to 27.27. And every time we enter that zone, we get rejected back up, and you have a nice bounce to the upside. And let's see if that happens this time. Sometimes, as you can see, you do wick down below. As you can see, you have a move down below the buy zone in May this year, in July last year, in March 2020 with the COVID dump, obviously, and before that in September of 2019. So if this happens one more time, let's say in November, let's say after the FOMC meeting with another 75 basis points hike, who knows? But that could definitely drive the markets down, and we may see a capitulation. Either way, in the next 100 days, if we don't see a strong capitulation, I would expect the markets to start recovering afterwards in March. In April, I do think we're going to start printing higher highs into 2024. We may see some sort of a fake out move in August next year, where you have a little pump and then you drop down towards the end of the year, and we start the bull market from from scratch in at the end of 2023 and 2024 January, I think. So that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of that. On the contrary, if you do see a relief rally, you may run into the 1.618 once again here, $1.40, or you can run into either of these white trend lines here as resistance because you haven't retested them as resistance yet. You lost them as support here, no back test as resistance, so you may do that. So that's regarding the daily chart. Let's switch over to the Binance website. So on the weekly chart for Binance here on Binance's website, you can see I have a bit of a different setup, and we are losing this diagonal descending support trend line on the weekly chart, which is quite negative because we've been holding that as support ever since the pullback here in June. You had another retest in September multiple times, and here in October, lo and behold, you lost that. So currently you're above this swing low at 95 cents. If I just set that up properly, there we go. So 95 cents is your major support level. If you start losing that, you have your minimal target at 81.5 cents based on this smaller Fibonacci. And as you can see here, you have the swing high in August and the swing low in June. Yeah, thought it was July at first. And based on this fib, you have the 1.618 at almost 67 cents. So that is going to be your technical target if you start losing 95 cents. Just be aware of that. You may see a large wick all the way down there. I've seen this play out many times before. Trust me, these levels have importance because a lot of times I've seen projects drop down below the first fib level, have a perfect wick all the way down to the 1.618 and a nice recovery from there. So yeah, take a look at projects like Near Protocol, for example. For those of you watching my Near videos, shout out to you. Near has done exactly that on a larger fracture, or fractal, I should say. And yeah, so this could play out here in this smaller fractal. And we may retest 67 cents in case of a capitulation, in case of a strong capitulation for Bitcoin. And as you can see, this ties up very nicely with the buy zone or with the trading range that we have here from 80 cents to 53 cents, right? This is where we traded in October and September of 2020. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Also on the weekly RSI, we're still in this falling wedge and we're still in this channel down pattern. At some point, this is going to be broken, but I do think we may retest the support of the falling wedge. As you can see, that teal trend line may be retested before we see a break to the upside eventually, but who knows? Right now, we are very near the resistance, but the price is not looking very good right now. We're losing a key support level. So I think what could happen is that if Bitcoin capitulates, we bounce off of the teal trend line, and that would be an excellent entry point for anyone looking to buy into Theta. Below that, you obviously have the support of the channel down pattern as well. I would keep an eye on that. Actually, I should fix up the channel down pattern because it's not set up in a very proper way here. There we go. So yeah, I would keep an eye on the channel down patterns support trend line as well. But regardless, once you see a breakout from these two patterns, at that point, that's a very, very bullish statement. Obviously, that needs to be confirmed with the price action, because if the price action stays like this and you start breaking out on the RSI, that does not mean you have to buy or you have to sell. That simply means you're waiting for confirmation. And if you want to enter after the breakout, that's fine. Wait for the back test of support, right? Wait for something like this on the RSI, enter there, and you're good to go. But you need to see a confirmation on the price action, okay? So until that happens, I can't be very bullish on Theta, short to midterm. I don't have any Theta personally. If you're bullish on the project and you believe in it long term, I don't see a reason not to buy it right now in dollar cost average, especially everyone who is buying at the all-time high prices. The MACD is slowly creeping up towards the histogram, which is currently bullish because it's green. And we have a bullish cross here happening in July, just like we had one happen last year in, when was that? That was in October, actually. So maybe we're going to see a nice bullish uptrend towards November. But like I said, the FOMC meeting happening in November, I just think we're going to see another pullback at the beginning of November, guys. Just warning you. And taking a look at the stochastic, so just to warn you, this is not the stochastic RSI. This is the stochastic, or the stock. And here we are in the oversold. As you can see, we're below the index of 20, and this is as low as you've been ever, really, because the last time you were at these levels was back in November and December of 2019. So these are good buying prices in my opinion. And yeah, obviously, in case of a relief rally, I would target the 20 EMA here on the weekly chart and the 55 EMA on the weekly chart, but the 55 is quite far away. I would target the 20 because we haven't seen a retest of that ever since April. Yeah, ever since April. So be on the lookout for that. If I missed out anything, let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. Feel free to join me on Patreon, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one.